Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Stiefvater and I have an unhaul video for you today. I have been buying more books recently and reading more books, and I needed more space on my shelves, and I took a wider look at my shelves and realised there was quite a few books on here that I'm just holding on to that I don't need to be holding on to. So yes, just going to get into it. Some of these are going to be controversial and I'm sorry if some of these are your favourite books of all time. I'm getting rid of them for personal reasons, like they either didn't work for me. A lot of these books I have read and I don't need to keep them anymore, or I started the series and I'm not going to continue on, and there's a few books I haven't even read at all and I've just changed my mind on whether I want to read them. So feel free to tell me in the comments if you think I should keep a book and why, but don't be rude. I'm getting rid of these books regardless of what you say, because I make my own decisions around here. That seems a bit harsh and a bit rude. I don't mean it to be. The first series I'm getting rid of is the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by Ve Shobh. I read the first book and half of the second book, DNF'd the second book halfway through, and it's been a couple of years and I'm never going to pick the series up again. I've got another Ve Shobh book in this Unhaul too, and I think as much as I love Ve Shobh's ideas, I think they're brilliant. I just don't think her writing works for me. I can't quite put my finger on why I don't like her books and why I'm just not enthused by them. I can't even remember the name of the character. Is it Lila Bard in this world? She annoys the ever-living heck out of me. I hate her so much. I hate her character. She's so irritating and annoying. And I hated her in these books. And I love the concept of this series in this world so much, but I'm just not interested. I'm not going to go back and reread them and continue on. I'm just not. I've had them for a few years now and I know I'm not going to do that, so what's the point? These taking up so much space. These two were sitting on my TBR shelf and taking up precious space on my TBR shelf, and I'm not going to read them. So sorry, I feel like this is going to be the most controversial. I might as well just go straight into the next book. It's Vicious by Ve Shobh. I did read this whole book and again I thought the concept was excellent. Really fascinating, really interesting, but the execution fell flat for me. I actually struggled to get through this book, even though it's supposed to be like gripping, because every chapter is like set like is set with like a date and time sort of thing, like, you know, like 3 hours or 10 minutes ago or 2 years ago, or like you're building up to this big event, and I don't know, it just didn't work for me. I really struggled to get through it. The writing didn't work for me. The characters just fell a bit flat. I'm not really sure, but at this point in time I don't think I'm going to pick up another Ve Shobh, which is a shame because I know a lot of people out there absolutely love her, but I'm not quite sure what doesn't work for me. So I'm going to get rid of this book even though I read it. I love the concept, but there's no point in keeping a book on my shelves that I didn't love and I'm not ever going to pick up again. Right, getting all the controversial ones out of the gate first. And the next book is The Raven Boys by Maggie Stiefvater. I started this a couple of times and maybe only read 50 pages at the most, and it's so boring this first instance. And I've watched quite a lot of other people's reviews and they say that it's a very quiet kind of book and it's more about the characters and stuff, and I'm very much a plot driven story lover. Yeah, it just doesn't hold a lot of interest for me anymore, and I'm kind of moving away from young adult. I'm mostly 95% of the time read adult books now, and yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to read this. I'm not going to pick up the rest of the series. I'm just not interested, and I know it's a lot of people's favourites out there, but I just don't think this is for me. The next books I have are Gone, Hunger and Lies by Michael Grant. This is part of a larger series that there's a couple, I think there's at least another 2 or 3 books in this series. Now I read this many moons ago and I think I only read the first 2 and got halfway through the 3rd book, and because I was so young when I was reading it, I got really freaked out and I put it down because it was really scary and really creepy and I didn't like it. And the concept in this book is really interesting. I think the concept is one day all the over 16s or something like that vanish, and it's just all the under 16s left in this small town, and there's like a big dome over it, and then so many wacky things go down. There's like radiation, so lots of them develop like powers and abilities, and then there's baddies, and there's lots going on. So it's like a really interesting concept, and I did enjoy the first couple of books when I read them when I was a lot younger, but I believe now, looking back, and I've heard a lot of people in the book community discuss that there's a lot of problematic things within this series. I think some to do with like disabled characters are not represented well at all. I think there's just a lot of wider issues. I don't know too much about it. I haven't done any research just because I don't plan on rereading this series. Yeah, so I think it's a shame when a series like that ends up having lots of problematic elements. But I think, I'm not sure when these were first started to be published. First published in 2009. So that's about right, about when I would have read them when I was about 13, 14. Can I count? Yeah, 13 or 14 was when I first started reading this series. And I didn't continue on. But I will say, these sprayed edges are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. I don't understand why more books aren't just done with sprayed edges anyway, as a standard, because these colours are beautiful, and I'm going to miss having them on my shelves because all those kind of tag videos you do, one of them is always like, oh, a book with sprayed edges, and I don't really have that many, and I'm now getting rid of 3 of the ones I do own. The next 2 books I'm getting rid of is the Yowler Foul Up and the Ratastrophe Catastrophe by David Lee Stone. These are part of the Ilmoor Chronicles, and I got these really, really cheap from like secondhand in my Tesco. They were both like 50p each when I picked them up, and I read them both. The first book was better than the second. It's just a kind of Terry Pratchett-esque for like ages 8 to 12, and I think when you're that kind of age, these books are fantastic for you, and they were a good, quick, fun read for me at the time, but I'm never going to reread them. I'm not going to continue on the series. The only reason I read them in the first place was because I saw them for so cheaply. Good fun, but I'm not really a younger age bracket reader. But I would maybe recommend them for younger readers if they're interested in the kind of Terry Pratchett kind of parody style of fantasy. They're a good fun. But yeah, I just have no interest in keeping books on my shelves that I didn't absolutely love and I'm not going to reread. And then the next 2 books I'm going to get rid of is As Old as Time and Once Upon a Dream, Disney Twisted Tales by Liz Braswell, I should say. These are the Beauty and the Beast and the Sleeping Beauty. I didn't realise they both had beauty in the name. That confused me. My brain melted there. Disney Twisted Tales stories. And again, I would never bought these full price because it's not usually what I would pick up to read, but I got them in my local Tesco for 50p each. Well, actually, one of them in local Tesco for 50p each, and my mum bought one at a kind of car boot sale type thing for me. And I read both of them. The Beauty and the Beast Twisted Tale was so much better in my opinion. It included the magic more, it just had so much more intrigue to the story and really turned the fairy tale on its head. Because I love retellings, I really enjoy them, but the Sleeping Beauty one kind of fell flat for me. It didn't really work. I thought it was really boring. But again, although I enjoyed one and didn't really like the other, I'm not going to keep them because I'm not going to reread them. But I do enjoy a good retelling. And if I maybe come across more of the Disney Twisted Tales really cheaply, I might read more of them in the future. But yeah, I'm not going to hold on to them. I'd rather put these back to a charity shop or something like that where another younger reader can get them for cheap and they can read them and enjoy them. The next set of books I'm getting rid of is the kind of Last Vampire series by Christopher Pike. Sometime last year I did a reread of the first book in this series for my rereading my teen vampire obsession, but I'm not going to reread this series again, and I think in retrospect this is a very problematic series, and I did enjoy them when I was a lot younger and I did reread them constantly when I was younger, but I think the time for these books has passed and I need to just unhaul them and get rid of them because I'm not going to read them again and they're taking up valuable space, and I'm sure I'm going to read lots of better vampire books in the future. So I'm going to unhaul these ones. And the very last book I'm unhauling, there's quite a lot of books actually I'm unhauling, is this, The Crimson Snow, which is a Winter Mysteries short story collection edited by Martin Edwards. Again, I got this at like my church fete for like 20p a year or 2 ago, thinking that, oh, I'll get round and I'll read it in winter one day, and it'll be quite nice. But it's like, it's a crime classic, like winter mysteries sort of thing, and it's just not something I'm ever really going to pick up. I keep saying I will, and I was going to maybe read them this year when we had all that snow, but it didn't happen, and it's probably never going to happen. yeah, it's like vintage crime stories set in winter. And I think this is a beautiful collection and it's a lovely edition of a book, but I just don't really read crime classics at all. I don't think I ever have, and I don't really have any interest in picking this up. So it's just sitting on my shelves and I need to just move on and get over the fact that I'm never going to read it. So don't hold on to it. So this is me finally getting rid of it. This is all the books I'm unhauling. Do they even fit in the frame? Probably not.